All right. I am gonna lower that and get rolling in just a second. Welcome everybody. How's it going? We're gonna dive into playful coding, a little bit of coding in Minecraft, a little bit of the cool stuff we've done with it here in New York City, and that you can take with you. Let me actually, first things first, pull up some resources and things I'm going to share with you in just a second. So here is a link to everything we're talking about and everything you're going to need, and take it with you, slides, etc. You get it all. I guess we technically are starting now. Yeah, 1:40, I believe, is the time. So welcome everyone. How's it going? If you meant to be in Building Blocks of Change, you are in the right place. That is what is happening here now. And without further ado, let me just forge ahead. So my name is Sean Arnold. Work in New York City public schools. I have for what is it now, like 18 plus years. But most of that time was in District 75, which is citywide special education for students with higher needs disabilities, lots of students with autism. To that point, a lot of the work that I've needed to do has been non-traditional, not staying in front of a classroom kind of stuff, because that doesn't work for my students. And I would argue it doesn't work for a lot of students either. So I've had to learn lots of tools and techniques to make learning accessible and inclusive for the wide range of students that I'm working with. You'll see also some pictures there of me and my two kids exploring at Minefair Adventures, which are kind of like Comic-Cons for Minecraft, if you've ever experienced that and explored. It's a fun space. Here is probably the most important thing that I am going to share. So if you get pretty much nothing else from me, go ahead and get that bit.ly link. Of course, capital letters matter, and a bit.ly link. I shared where that takes you to just a second ago, but here again is that link. Actually, that is not the right link because I got to put a / in it. There we go. That is the link, which should take you to all the resources. So if you get absolutely nothing else, get that link, get all of that, and I don't know, watch a recording later if I'm not very exciting for you in the moment, and fast forward. But there's a quote I put up there from Seymour Papert, for those of you unfamiliar with who he is and his work. Sort of the father of constructivist learning, modern constructivist learning anyway. A lot of the reason we have robotics in school and coding in schools and, the sort of logo codes, and the reason like Lego robotics essentially more or less became a thing. And he's big into play and games for education. In certain cases, the early days of edutainment video games like your Oregon Trail, whatnot. And you can play Oregon Trail in Minecraft too. And there are games that are better than others. The point he's making, though, is it wasn't about it being easy or it being hard, because that's not what kept students from it. It was about it not being engaging enough, it not connecting to who the students were, their identities. I'm going through all this now just so you have enough time to pull all that stuff off the screen, because like I said, this is the most important thing. That said, this is sort of what we're going to dive into today. A little overview, a little bit of why, a little bit of how we're designing change, a bit of the immersive coding as I give you walkthroughs straight in Minecraft so you can do it yourself. And then where you can take it from there, I guess. First off, though, on a scale of Beyonce, weather notwithstanding, where would you rate yourself right now? How is everybody doing? Where are our minds? Where are our hearts at? It's a wild day and time for me. I'm gonna put myself maybe at a 6. If I'm honest, 5 to 6-ish. It's been a long time since I've been like dropped the mic level 9. Yeah, I get you. Queen Bee 10ness I haven't quite felt in quite a while. It's been a time. It's the start of the year. It's break my soul level. Yep. All right. You won't break my soul, Tim. You won't break my soul. Anyway. All that point, keep going, keep it coming in. Let me know where you are. I think it's important to recognize this only because it's a thing that we need to do regularly with our students too, right? We need to take note of who we are, where we are, what's going on in our worlds and our lives, because we can't move forward. We can't do anything else without an internalization. And Danielle, Wow. Okay. I want to know what your secret is and how you're doing that well. Good for you. Awesome. Um, how about this rating? On a scale of noob to goat, what is your experience level with Minecraft? Okay, Danielle, the conference is getting you there. That's good. I love that. There hasn't been a lot of glitchiness for me too in like joining sessions and things, and that's been cool. I thought there might be at points, but it's worked pretty well. So on the level of noob to goat, what is your experience level in Minecraft? Okay, some bots. Also, bonus points if anybody can name the characters above the little symbols. Okay, creeper level correct. Okay, we got some people with some skills. Most people on the lowerish end, but not totally inexperienced, which is cool, and that's fine because a thing I will definitely repeat again is you do not have to know Minecraft. You do not have to be good at Minecraft to teach with Minecraft. The kids are always going to be better than you at it. You will not beat them in an obby obstacle course for those unfamiliar. Don't expect to. All right, we got some gamer-ishy folks, some mid-range. So some most of y'all in the middle somewhere. Keep going. Ooh, we got some Ender Dragon. Okay, good for you. Little goat in the world. All right. I bring this up because this concept of Minecraft for change, the way that Minecraft has been used in multiple situations and settings for real world impact and change. So there's a place called Autcraft. Autcraft was a server that was set up specifically for people with autism so they could connect and communicate in a space where it was less intense, less stressful, that the systems of communication were more comfortable. There are also worlds in which there have been set up. Stephen Fisher, who's a friend of mine, works at schools around the world. He has set up worlds in which you've trained in terms of refugees coming from different nations. So, in one specific instance, Syrian refugees traveling into Europe, and a sort of empathy exercise within Minecraft for those. On another end of that spectrum, and to what that picture you see references, young players from Israel and Palestine playing in world together, connecting in ways. Obviously, Minecraft isn't going to bring world peace or anything like that anytime soon. But to say that these people are interacting in places and spaces that they would never otherwise have had the opportunity, and that it's the beginning stages of building understanding and at least a consensus of the humanity of other people in the world, even though you are little digital 16-bit figures, you're recognizing other people. And I can say this as an example in which in recent years, even when we had to do things like Battle of the Burrows remotely in the midst of the pandemic, the students who were on teams together, never met, from the same borough, now still stay connected, and they let me know how they're doing. And I, as their coach on their team, and the connections built over just these esports competition spaces that they've had, and being able to build and learn and connect together, and it can be meaningful and powerful in that way. In New York City, we've done things like our Net Zero Challenge, where, again, we're deep diving into sustainability. You can learn more about all of these things in the links I've shared with you. I'm not going to go too deep into any one of these. Battle of the Burrows, as sort of esports competitive space where students are building against each other, also based on real world challenges. We've done a lot of accessible design spaces. So this is work I've done with heavily my students in District 75, where we built accessible spaces in world for people with visual impairments, physical disabilities, etc. And we designed these spaces where both our students who have these sorts of physical disabilities can play because it's speaking to them. There are a lot of accessibility features built into Minecraft, in case you were unaware. But in addition to that, some of the stuff we built in world was reflective of the world around us in reality. And the accessible spaces students were building gave them the power to advocate for themselves in these real world spaces. And some of it resulted in them reaching out to city council members and other legislative bodies here in the city of New York and actually getting things changed, whether that be curb cuts on their sidewalks for some of the students we had with wheelchairs, whether that was more accessible riding spaces for them. Really pretty cool. And of course, computer science, which is what we're all deep diving and connecting into today. So you can learn all about the functions of and coordinates in the system, and you can learn about conditionals and all the language we talk of when we talk about computer science in an engaging and playful space like Minecraft. And I'm going to get into that in a second and what it looks like and why I think it's, especially for transitional coding from block-based coding to text-based coding, one of the best places and spaces to engage in that transition. And I'll show you some of the reasons why. But it's also just a place that draws kids in because it's immediately interactive in the way that like robots in World are awesome, because when the robot falls off the table, you know, oops, I coded it wrong. In that same way, it's clear in Minecraft, but you don't have to have all of these expensive robots and things moving around and worry about chargers and whatnot, just logging in. All right. So actually, I'm going to stop sharing this screen because I think it'll be cooler in a different way. And I'm going to share it like this, a little video that we can watch quickly, just to give you an overview of some of what we did with Battle of the Burrows in this past year and what that experience was like, and maybe what you can take with you to enjoy with your students too. Let me know if the sound and stuff on this doesn't work right. Sorry, you can't hear me. That was the mayor at the end. He's all right. We don't mind him too much, I guess. Whatever. We won't get into that. But to say, I think it's also important to note that in the midst of the work that we were doing with those students and building that challenge and all the awesomeness that happened in Battle of the Burrows and everything that led up to it into real world change initiatives of students really trying to guide the city to be a better place and getting to communicate that to their borough presidents in the spaces in which they did their ideas and concepts. That was meaningful, but it was especially meaningful because we took, in a way that you don't often see in esports events, especially, lots of effort to make it as inclusive as possible, as reflected in the people who are playing there at the end and some of the winning teams, respective of a range of cultures and abilities. In fact, the winning seniors team, some of the alternates, along with one of the standard players, were students with IEPs. And I think that's worth noting, the fact that Minecraft and these specific challenges to bring in computer science, to bring in real world building and design concepts, were able to draw in an audience and a participation from kids that otherwise have oft been excluded from these conversations. And I know we're talking a lot about the equity pieces of CS and the actual forward thinking, meaningful work we have to do to actively draw in those who are often left out of these conversations. And I love that that was an example of that work in action. So I am going to share this screen again. Here we go. That one. And we're going to get a little bit into the why real quick. Minecraft, future ready skills, blah, 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 blah. The 7 C's that you're often probably familiar with. That we're going to need, whether artificial intelligence does our work in certain capacities, we will still need to be able to communicate effectively, even if we're using these tools to help us do it. We will still, even for my students who are nonverbal, need to be able to communicate in whatever capacity, whether it's on a Zoom screen or, in person. We need to be able to be creative and create creative solutions and think critically, all of those 7 C's of it. And especially in terms of that creativity piece, I think Minecraft is miles and miles above of so many other ways to learn, like digital Legos in that sense. If you can imagine it, you can build it and create it without having to worry about stepping on said Lego. Some of the big reasons for gaming, there's tons of it that I love, but one of the big ones for me is about intrinsic motivation. So much of education lives out in that world of external stuff. Here's a sticker, here's a grade, here's a paycheck, right? And that is necessary to a degree, and it gets us to show up. But all the data shows it is ineffective for long-term productivity. It's only effective in the short term, and it kills creativity almost immediately, as opposed to these internal motivations, like a sense of purpose in what you're doing, a sense of connection to your peers and socialization, a task accomplished, right? Fun. These are things that actually keep us intently engaged in the process as well as the creativity. And when we don't do that, it's the reason like a lot of our New Year's resolutions fail, right? The other piece of it that I love about Minecraft and just mini games for learning in general is the way we're able to redefine failure for students. And coding is awesome for this because debugging is built into it, right? This concept of students who struggle with getting things wrong and never want to make a mistake, especially a lot of the students I've had in debugging in games, that same student will take Super Mario or in Fortnite or whatever game you're playing. In Fortnite, they'll die 116 times in a row, right? Earlier, maybe last a little bit longer, and then finally, 118th time through, they finally get a battle victory royale, right? Or in Mario, if that's more your concept, jump half a second later, and I finally made it over the pit and didn't get killed by a little fly eggshell, right? They'll keep doing that over and over again, even though they keep hitting up against this wall. Why? Yes, it's frustrating each time they fail. And we've seen maybe videos of kids chucking their video game controllers and getting really upset. But if we can keep it within that realm of positive frustration of, okay, I'm making mistakes, but I'm learning because I take the information I gathered from my last round of play and I apply it to my new round of play. And from that, I've created and built something better. I think that is one of the most powerful aspects of gaming for me. Not all games are equal. If you're not familiar with the chocolate-covered broccoli paradox, it is this concept that, imagine school lunch broccoli, which is the nasty, mushy broccoli, right? If you have not experienced nasty lunch broccoli, trust me, you don't want to. Simply putting chocolate on it doesn't necessarily make it taste better. In that same realm, chocolate-covered learning is not necessarily fun or good or engaging. So there are the games that I remember loving as a kid that were early edutainment. Carmen Sandiego, awesome. Who played Carmen Sandiego? Shout it out in the chat if you want. But I was learning geography, not because my goal was to learn geography, but because Carmen Sandiego was fun. If you can remember some other early childhood games that really drew you in, throw those in the chat too. But I will say there were other games that were not to that level. If anybody remembers a game like Math Blasters, which was, SimCity was great, which was Math Blasters was flashcards with flashy lights. And I could go on and on about all the things we do wrong in math instruction, and that's a conversation for another time. But I guess flashcards with flashy lights is better than just regular drill and kill, which a lot of math classes are, so yippee. But it doesn't make it a good game. In fact, it's just slightly better than terrible, because it's got the flashy lights. In the same way, the games we play where it's like, okay, do work, regular schoolwork, and play a game completely unrelated to that process, like toll booth games where it's like, okay, learn. Okay, you get to play something completely unattached to it. Those games stink too. And the kind of games that are powerful and meaningful are the kind of games people want to play anyway. Minecraft is one of those because it is, at least as far as individual titles are concerned, surpassed even Tetris as the best-selling game of all time, right? There are series of Pokemon and Mario, if you count all the games of the series that have outsold it. But as an individual gaming platform, it's more than any other. And like I said, you don't have to be good at it to teach with it. You don't have to know how two sticks and a planks come together to make a pickaxe. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to teach with it at all for code. Doesn't matter when we're doing these meaningful change experiences with students. Oops. Yeah, skip. Doesn't matter when we're deep diving into these Battle of the Burrow experiences where I'm drawing in thousands and thousands of students to participate and play. This was the challenge we had for round one last year. So the 4 key areas: safe, connected, resilient, sustainable, right? There they are. Again, you can deep dive into those, learn more, and you can even play that world. I'll show you in a bit, but I want to have time for us to actually get in and start coding. We scored it, rubrics. Kids had time to research and build. They were able to go live for our in-person events in the finals, although the initial ones were submitted in Flip, Microsoft Flip, formerly known as Flipgrid, which is where they were scored initially. And then the top ones got to compete live later on in the boroughs. And then in the end, the competition worlds, which I might even show you in a moment, they basically were building on Staten Island ferries, if you've ever gotten to ride one of those, which is honestly half the time a better way to go past and see the Statue of Liberty. If you're visiting the city at some point, then taking the ferry out there, looking up from underneath. And coding was available and possible for the students. And for the students who were adept at it, they were actually able to create much more prolifically than the other students. Of course, they were locked into their little space, so they couldn't mess up anybody else's, and they were able to communicate with each other there. And we actually scored them with accessible design pieces in the world too. Some of the key accessibility features that exist in the game, there are specialized blocks like border blocks that will keep somebody away from going out of a specific space. Things for documentation like Book and Quill, where students can write and take photos and basically export those as PDFs. So if you do Google Classroom or whatever your management system is, you don't even have to go in world to see all the stuff that the students have made and created. They can go ahead and document it themselves with the camera and the portfolio, etc., and submit it to you through a PDF like a regular assignment. NPCs in world, non-player characters, if you're unfamiliar, connect and integrate with students, can connect them to websites, a bunch of text displays like chalkboards, again, to be able to read from them. And lots of accessibility features like screen readers and magnification built in. And of course, Immersive Reader, if you haven't seen that, you'll get a chance. But let's deep dive into the coding portion, which I'm going to show and play with you here in a second. So in Minecraft, specifically, you have a few different options for coding. Like I said, I love it because I think it's great for transition, especially for upper elementary, early middle school age range, which is a lot of the students I've worked with throughout my years. And in that terms of that scaffolding buildup to go from one to the other, it's almost unparalleled in all the ways it offers you those shifts and changes to get the student to the next phase. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. But there is a code builder. There's a little guy in it, your agent, who helps you build, do whatever you want in world. Yes, it can build stuff. Yes, it can farm stuff. In fact, the agent can do things regular people can't do in the world. Like I can't build in the middle of the sky because the laws of gravity and other things affect what I'm trying to build. But the agent can, and he can make a pretty rainbow in the sky. All right, so there are things you can do with the agent that are not possible in the rest of the parts of the game. Like I said, block-based, JavaScript or Python, and then you get to see those results in the real world. There are a few lesson series that exist in computer science, and I'm going to show those to you in a second. But again, block-based coding, the transitional ones, and then coding directly with Python lessons. Yes, like I said, you can do it in JavaScript, but there aren't lessons built around the JavaScript. There's also Hour of Code, some fun ones. This last year's Hour of Code was a digital escape room for students. It was super duper fun. And some other digital skills like digital citizenship and work like that, including artificial intelligence pieces now. But without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing that screen. I'm going to start sharing my Minecraft screen, and we are going to play together. All right. So you should see my Minecraft screen here. I am in the subject area. When I first log in, I get this. Here's my little character. It looks a little bit-ish like me. And if I hit play, I've got a library. Cool. This is where we went with subject kits. I'm going to show you writing computer science, block coding, Hour of Code, coding with Python. For that transition one that I talked about, it's under block coding. I'll show that in a second. But I also want to mention, again, here's some artificial intelligence lessons. These are brand new this year, these cybersecurity lessons. So these are really neat. I haven't even gotten a chance to play through all of them yet. Here, though, in the block coding, if you go to secondary, is that transitional space. So there are 10 units built around that transition. Here's just an introduction of how to use it. If the students have never done coding in Minecraft before, but you think they're ready for that coding transition, here's a neat part too. If I hit this resources button, I'm not going to do it. Well, I will. You're not going to see it on the screen. But what it opens up is in the Minecraft education page, you'll see that there's a ton of resources right there for you. And that includes slide decks, that includes lesson plans, that includes student guidebooks. I'll give you a little look at what those kind of appear like in just a moment. After I walk you through some basic Minecraft coding builds. So you can get an understanding of it, but all of that is pre-made for you, so you have to do none of it. You don't have to make a thing. It's already made for you. It already all exists. Again, you don't have to be good at Minecraft. You don't even really have to go in-world at all to teach with Minecraft, though, you know, learn a little bit and demoing some things for your students might be nice. I am going to go ahead and go to this view library, and I'm just going to go to a starter world and a regular flat blocks of grass world. If you're not familiar with what this is, basically infinite plane. I don't have to worry about trees and plants and grass or anything. I am just out here in the middle of nothing everywhere. And the reason I'm doing this is because I just want a big open space to play around. How do we get coding to happen in Minecraft? Very simply, look, there's these control tips. How do I move around? How do I make stuff happen? Like I said, built into this is a basic tutorial of how to move around and walk and do all that stuff. It's different. I'm working on a computer right now. It's a little different if you're on a tablet like an iPad. It works on Chromebooks. It works on iPads. It works on Windows. It works on Macs and etc. So again, whatever devices you're using, you can do it. Here we go. Actually, since it's raining, should I make it rain in here? No, let's not worry about that now. To make coding happen, anybody know how to open my coding blocks and get to my agent? Even if you don't, your guess is probably right. What would it exactly, Mary? The letter C for coding. And I'm going to shrink this so you see what it looks like normally in here. It often takes up half the screen. Let me maximize it. Oh, you're not getting to see any of that on yours. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to close that. And I am going to make this huge and then share my full screen. Let's see if that helps. And then you'll get to see all of it. All right. Share screen, entire screen, this. Okay. Where do I need to go? There we go. Now you get to see the whole thing. So there are tutorials built in here too. Again, like I said, in those lesson plans. And now since I've got the whole screen shared, I might as well show them to you since it's nice and easy. Here is an example sort of lesson plan. Oops. This is the second unit, so just past the introduction unit. This is a whole slide deck. Again, like I said, there's student activities and everything that goes with it. I've got them neatly loaded up in some of these folders for them, but you can get them from the Minecraft Education website link there. Again, I'll just open up so you see there's an educator guide that walks you through everything you need to know. There are student workbooks that'll guide the students and help them through. And there are these slide decks. What are we going to learn today? Oh, we're going to learn about events and videos to go with it. And here's all the little blocks and what they look like and what you'll need to do. And here's where you go to load it up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. That all exists in there. There's also within this coding space, all of these tutorials. So if you just want to randomly start a little tutorial, I'm going to do some of the stuff in the tutorials. I will walk into this first one just so you can see all the scaffolds built in. So I'm going to do this chicken rain tutorial in blocks, just so we can see what it's like. Yes, you can make it rain chickens. All right, sweet. So again, instructions here on the side. If I am a struggling reader, there is this button that takes me into Immersive Reader. Again, I think we're all familiar with this-ish, and if you're not, message me later. But it'll read it. It'll translate it into another language. It'll let me have a picture dictionary and get my picture symbols of chickens, whether they be nugget or fresh, I guess. And I can walk through. It's going to tell me, under the code on chat command, I'm going to change that to the word chicken. Okay. Did I do that correctly? If I'm not sure, I can click this little, oh, okay. Yeah, that looks about right. And I want to drag in the spawn for mobs, this thing, into here. Cool. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this one just so it's not confusing. Great. I did it right. All right, sweet. Da-da-da. It continues to walk me through here on the side. Important note for those unfamiliar with Minecraft. Everything in the world is a block. Air is a block. Ground's a block. Water's a block, right? And all of these blocks take up a space on an XYZ axis. If we don't remember back to our math classes in high school, X essentially left to right, Y up and down, Z in this case, essentially forward and backward. Now, granted, depending on which way I'm facing in world, X might be left and right, it might be forward, back, but Y is always up and down. So chickens can fly. So I'm going to make them fly up into the air. If I put a negative number in that, well, they'd be appearing underground, and that's not good for me. So 10 blocks up, they're going to be flying directly above me, nowhere to the left or to the right. Sweet, as it recommends. And now I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to open the chat log here in the game. Oh, there's my little agent saying hello to me. I'll hit the T key, T for talk, chat, and I'm going to type the word chicken, which is what I made the prompt. Look up. Yay. It's a chicken. Not very exciting. All right, I'm going to open this up again. I'm going to get out of this tutorial because I want to go into a new project because I want to make it myself, and we're just going to do this basics. We're just going to call this basics. Cool. So same story. I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to call that chicken again. I'm going to get my mob and spawn a chicken, 10 up in the air. But we're computer science people. We know, and you'll notice there's a whole bunch of other places I can pull from here, which is why sometimes those tutorials are really nice. It limits it in the way that if you're familiar with Scratch, etc., sometimes there's just a lot of stuff and it can be really, really confusing to find what you need. So sometimes in those tutorials, it's much easier. I'm going to get to a loop. How many chickens do we want? Somebody give me a number in the chat. I'm waiting. 15? Okay, 15 works for me. Could have done a lot more. 15, 20, 50. Okay, so I'm going to add all your numbers together, and that is 85. Cool. All of yours together is 85. There you go. 85 chickens, 10 up in the air. I'm going to hit play this time. I am going to type chicken again. Okay, there's a bunch of chickens streaming down in a straight line, and then they spread out. Cool. Neat. I can make that more complex if I really, really want to. Obviously, I can go into positions features, and so I can pick this and make it a random position from, let's say, 8 here to 10 here, from 0 to 5 this way, and 0 to 5 this way. So now when I spawn those chickens, they'll spawn in the air. Now I could also randomize the animal, but let's just make it chickens for now so it doesn't get weird. So let's try that again. Now I'm learning about randomization just by spawning chickens again. Let's type it again. Chicken. And you'll see they spawned in random configurations there in the sky. Just a little different. All right. So that's some chickens. Great. I made chickens. Not terribly exciting. That was on a chat command. I am going to use another player block here, and I'll get into the other kinds of code in a second, but I'm starting with blocks just to keep this simple. Like I told you directly right now, I could switch this totally over to JavaScript. That's what it looks like in JavaScript. I could switch it totally over to Python. That's what it looks like in Python. I can jump back over to blocks if I got confused again. Sweet. And as we get into, I'll be showing more Python in a bit. But that is a space where there's even other scaffolds built in that I'm going to show you in just a moment. So instead of based on me saying something in the chat, I am going to do it when my player walks around, and I want it to, let's see, let's place a block. What do we like? I like some flowers. What's somebody's favorite color? Put it in the chat. Favorite color flower, actually. Purple? Purple. Oops, I have to be able to write purple. You know what? What are the, now I'm trying to think of a purple flower that exists in Minecraft and I can't. So I'm going to give you a almost purplish-y one. There's lots of different color flowers. I could have gotten roses and iris. I'll get roses next. Now, where am I going to make this appear? Let's just make it slightly to the side of me on the ground when I walk. So yes, I could type chicken. More chickens will fly in the sky. But now just from walking around, oh, nothing's happening, is it? Oh, wait, here it is. Oh, look. And as I walk around in other directions and in other pathways, there I'm being followed by flowers. I could similarly randomize that. And in fact, instead of flowers this time, I'm actually going to go out of here. And I'm going to do it where I already got some of that work done previously. Oops. Actually, that's the one I think I was just doing. I should have named these the exact same thing. And there we go. Oh, well, whatever. I'm going to change it. So we're going to actually make this a gold block. And what I am going to do instead is actually drag this out and drag this out. And I'm going to show you how I would do it in Python, because that's what I intended to do right now. So who knows how to write in Python code? Anybody? Anybody? Ask? No? Or is this going to be super confusing? And that's fine, because I'm about to show you another one of the scaffolds built in. You saw as I started to type DEF, which is like defining something. Cool. And now I could define it on what? What's going to happen? Oh, I want it to be when I walk around. Okay. Or do I want it to be when I move forward? Or do I want it to be, what exactly do I want it to be? No, I'm going to have it be when I walk around. So on. Oops. Fine, on. But if I don't remember what the code is for that, I can go over here and let's see, scroll through almost like it's still blocks, and I can look around and find, oh, all right. Yeah, run code on chat command, say hello, teleport, run code on player. Oh, okay, walk, when I walk. Great. Okay, I couldn't remember exactly what that was. Awesome, but that helped me out. Now, this pass is where I would basically fill in other text, what I'm creating to define it as. And it's okay, Danielle, if this is confusing for me, I can hop back over to blocks. And that's all that was that I put together. And this pass is what it's going to be. Again, if I don't remember that I want it to be on a particular block, and I'm going to keep it simple now, I'm going to go over here, place block at a position. What would that text look like? Okay. Actually, I should get rid of this extra line here. It will tell me if I make this a little smaller, you'll probably get to see it a little easier. If I have semantic errors at a certain point, let's make that a little smaller. There we go. So you can see if I have semantic errors and stuff at the bottom. It'll flag them. So I'm going to actually make a mistake on purpose right now, semantically speaking. Let's just put an extra period here. Oh, problems, right? And it's letting me know where it is and what's happening, and it's identifying it. I'm going to get rid of that. Again, now I don't want to just place a block. What I want to do, also under that block section, is fill a whole section. Oops. I can do that. Fill a whole section with blocks, because I am going to make something neat happen. So, okay, cool. It's going to fill some blocks with grass. Well, I don't want it to be grass. I want it to be gold. Oh, cool. I can just click and it'll fill in the variable for me. All right, let's see. Well, it needs to be sort of below my feet. So that's -1 in the y-axis. This much I remember. Okay, let's have it be, let's make it -1 here to 1 here in the x-axis. I'm going to pause with that right now, and let's just see what happens. Hit play. When I walk around now, what is happening? Okay, that's not bad. Oh, I got a silly egg in my hands now. Okay, sweet. It's basically making a little wide yellow brick road. So I'm like Dorothy walking down the yellow brick road that I created through Python. And when that chicken got in the way, it messed it up, but I can go back and fill it in. And whenever I walk, I don't even have to place all these blocks. So for somebody who was trying to play in Minecraft, in order to do this, I would have had to, actually, let's turn that off. Goodbye, delete all my Python code. Okay. I would have to break this out and then suddenly start placing all these blocks, right? that takes a while, but all I was doing was walking and I was getting all of that, which is pretty neat, pretty easy, pretty fun to do. But it does not have to end there. I showed you in those spaces, and I'm going to go back. Let's go back home. Those are some of the basic things I was doing, right? Looking like this on a walk, cool. On the chat command chicken, that was happening. This is what all that would look like in Python. This is what that would look like in JavaScript. Again, decide which works better for you. But again, we would go through a whole thing in our lessons of what coding language looks like. It's built into the original first series of lessons. If you want to dive into Python code with people, with your students, if you want to dive into what it's like to import the programs, as I bring this back up on the screen, so you don't even have to know how to code all of these because they're built in and they'll show you the code and they'll walk you through it all. Here it is, creating those flowers and totally importing it. Here is the sort of thing I just did, which is a Yellow Brick Road lesson, right? And how to, they walk you through making it one block at a time, and then they show you maybe how you can do it in Python code to do it in multiple wide bricks, right? Anyway, discussing what's an event, coding with events, etc. And each of those series of lessons ends with an activity, a series of 4 lessons usually, essentially, where students get a chance to be creative with the skills they've learned. So in events, they're going to dive in and come up with something creative. Here, walking on water is a fun one where essentially you automatically turn the water to ice as you walk across it and you're able to walk across. Pretty neat. Kaleidoscopes, all of these are lessons built in, already created, awesome stuff. You don't have to do any of that work. All pre-made. So just take it and run with it. But I love the fact that what gets students excited is, cool, I can build Yellow Brick Roads more quickly. Sweet, I can, make plants and flowers and fun stuff happen. But I am going to show you, scroll over, how some other fun games can be built. So this is some code I put together. Anybody with some familiarity with Python have any idea what might happen when I do this? Or any familiarity with Minecraft? So let's look. I'm defining something I'm calling a pool. This particular variable, we're calling it. This is in, what was it? This would have been probably learned about in functions. So we're deep diving into functions here. So in this function pool, it's going to do a thing where it fills up a little pool of water. Cool. It's also going to teleport me somewhere. And it's also going to build something that's a platform. Again, maybe if you've ever watched a bunch of Looney Tunes cartoons with Bugs Bunny, you might have a concept of what's about to happen. Any guesses, or we just want to see it? All right, Danielle, that's a good guess. Pretty good guess. You're close. You're close in that regard. Anybody remember the episode? I want to say it was with like Donald Duck and Bugs Bunny, but where Donald goes up really high on this super, super tall diving board and is basically diving into a cup or a thimble of water or something, right? A tiny one. So this that I'm about to do takes some coding skills. Oops, I hit it on play, but what had just happened? Actually, I should have changed that so it wasn't on play. It should have been on text-based prompt, but whatever, it is now. So basically, if I look down, you'll see I'm way above the ground on a platform super high up. Oops. And I was teleported here. And also it changed my game mode. So I'm no longer in creative mode. I'm in survival mode. Now on this first one, I'm going to mess it up on purpose. And I'm going to hurt myself. And it's fine. Oh, no. Uh-oh. I died. I fell from a high place. My bad. And this time, and for those of us who would rather see it in blocks, I'm going to put it back in blocks. There we go. Function pool on start. Actually, I'm going to change this. And I'm not going to make it on start. And I'm going to make it on chat command. Yeah, and we'll call it jump. That works for me. So instead of doing it right away, I'll wait until I get to a spot I like, which let's go over here out into the middle of the chickens. And I'm going to type that text command. I'm going to type jump. So students can create their own mini games doing this. And suddenly now I'm on top of this thing again. And the goal was, and I can't even see, oh, there it is, what I'm trying to land in. Can I do it? Oh, just barely made it into the water. I survived. There we go. That takes some skill. And we could practice. We could try it again. And maybe 5 times out of 10, you'll make it or not. It's difficult because you'll notice that the little pond I made is directly below the platform, way, way high up. So you can't even see it exactly until you get to the very edge. But this could be a way, if students keep failing, maybe they could do a thing where, well, this is too difficult for me. So what can I change about my different functions to make this a slightly easier opportunity? Well, let's make the pool a little bit larger. So let's do that. And actually, I'm going to make it super huge. So it should be easy enough to land in, and we'll make it go even deeper underground. Sweet. So now I'm going to find a new space. Let's see if it's a little easier now. And obviously within the space, students can be problem solving within it to figure out, this is too hard. I can't quite do this. And what can we do to change those variables to go ahead and make this in-world situation we built an actual playable game design for our peers? So this time when I type, what was it? Jump was the word we used. Oh, and I fall immediately. It didn't teleport me right, but it's super easy because my pool is so much bigger and easier to swim in. So there you go. Switch the variables up, make your life easier. All right. I'm going to do this one right now too. We got a bit of time. I'm going to get out of this one and show you how complex. That's a simpler game design. This is a more complex game design because the goal is our students are going to be the designers, the builders, not just the partakers of the game and the play, but the creators of it. So yes, I can create a fun compass rose, and I'm going to do it in case you don't know your directionality. And I meant to show this earlier while I was talking about XYZ variables in it. So I am going to type that again, just so you have a sense of it. Boom. It's building a compass rose for me. Give it a second. Move back, and you will see. Oop. There we go. There's a D for down, a U for up, W for west, north. Oops. Actually, I got some of the letters wrong. Clearly I did, and I had one of these was supposed to be south. I think that was supposed to be south. So I messed it up, and I'd have to fix that, but that's fine because there you go, debugging. But that gives you an understanding of, look, if I'm confused about the variables, there's a whole lesson on coordinates and everything that we'll go through that'll show us how to build a thing like this to get ourselves straight. And then we can get into something more complex like zombie pig warfare. I left this in blocks so you could see it, and I want people to guess at what this game is going to be before I get into it. So we've got a few functions. One is the setup, one is the atmosphere, and one is something called zombie pig. And I also have a function on when a monster is killed, specifically a zombie pig monster. So setup, what is happening in our setup? I'm changing the difficulty of the game. So I would have been in creative mode building here, but for that diving creative mode, I can't get hurt. I can fly. There's no concerns, there's no worries, but I'm in survival mode now. I'm in normal mode, but I am giving myself something. Does anybody see what this little object, and I'm going to zoom in on it, is that I'm giving myself, at least to give myself a fighting chance? Anyone? Specificity. Diamond sword, yes. So I'm not helping myself with any armor, but I do have a diamond sword, but it's going to be midnight, and I'm creating a cool function for the zombie pig that has to do with lightning bolt projectiles. And you will see when I hit play and I write the word play, let's get into a slightly open space. This is going to change a lot. And actually, I'm going to change one more thing. Just to make it work with what's going on outside, I'm going to change the weather. And, oh, there it is. To the pouring rain that we have now. Actually, let's do thunder. All right, now we're going to play. So it's got to be rainy and thundery to fully get the atmosphere. So I just type play. What happens? What? Oh, uh-oh. All right. My game mode has changed. All right. He doesn't seem too concerned with me now. Uh-oh. Ouch. Oh, what else is around me? There's a whole bunch of them. Oh, no. Uh-oh. And I'm running low on health. I'm not doing too hot. Ah. And every time one dies, 3 more appear in its place. And there we go. How long can you last? We'll respawn. And I am going to game mode. Oops. Game mode. Creative. And let's just make everybody, even though I'm the only one playing. So I just won't die again too quickly. So I'm back in creative mode, so I won't die. And yeah, but that's a really intense game. And in truth, especially if you look at block-based, the coding wasn't that difficult once we learn about setups for the game and functionality and the nature of functions. In fact, one of the lessons in the transitional section that goes from block-based to Python specifically dives into artificial intelligence in the 9th unit of it. So again, we're exploring all these new ideas and concepts within this fun, playful space. I can go back and forth between blocks and Python if it helps. If I am typing up something and I forget what it is that I want on, okay, yeah, it's on a chat, and yeah. If I'm typing and I don't remember exactly how it goes, oh, what comes next? I can go ahead and drag in one of these. On chat command. Yeah. Okay, cool. And on the word help, maybe that's when it drops in some armor for me, and I can go ahead and like have it drop in some objects for me if I don't remember. Cool. So there are all these different ways to help with that transition from text-based. We can hop back and forth between. If it helps us, it gives us the information if there is a semantic, oops, here we go, sort of issue. We also have the ability to continue to sort of drag pieces in, as well as suggestions while we're typing to help us as we forget. So all these cool scaffolds built in to help with our coding in this world, on top of the fact that I get to play super cool fun games and fight zombie pigs. I am going to exit out of this world right now. I'm going to stop sharing this screen. And I am going to go back to sharing. Let's move this out of the way. And back to sharing this, because there's a couple other things I want to share with you before our time ends. So, there we go. This one and this one. Cool. So like I said, computer science topics, digital citizenship topics. Within that computer science zone is all the new stuff on artificial intelligence, all the new stuff on cybersecurity, which is really cool, as well as esports zones and areas all built right in. If you want to look up NYC DOE, you can go ahead and play our super cool world that we built for last year, our new Battle of the Boroughs world, which you'll be able to play along with, even if you can't come and visit us here in New York City to compete in, say, the finals. You'll be able to play the world and even submit into our Microsoft Flip throughout the rest of the state. That will be launching in mid-October this year, so even earlier, with more opportunities for you to participate and compete and have fun with it. More so, on code.org, there are Minecraft places and spaces to build. So Minecraft Adventurer is a little bit like survival mode, that zombie pig thing you saw. Minecraft Designer is a little bit like creative mode. We build whatever we want to create. Hero's Journey is a little bit what it's like to use the agent in world in Minecraft. So it gives a little pieces and taste without having to dive fully in world. So this might be an introductory piece for your students too, or if you don't yet have Minecraft licenses, which again, they come along if you have Microsoft Education, which if you're a Google Education school, you can have both. In New York City, we have both, so kids can use Google Classroom and Minecraft. And if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to me. I shared my info at the beginning, but I'll share it again at the end. Like I said, some of these in-world stuff to remember can be used for learning. Chalkboards you set up with information, camera to document the work, along with portfolio and the book and quill, which allow for a ton of writing and imagery from the game, and students to document and speak on what it is they played and learned. And then they can export it as a PDF. So you don't have to go into the world, and you just have to look at their PDFs and score those, right? However you want. Redstone is a thing that exists in the world. I won't get into this much now, but it essentially functions like electricity, and you can do lots of complex things, including stuff that relates heavily to coding concepts, Boolean search, Boolean moves, the pistons and sticky pistons and comparators and repeaters, use all sorts of stuff that are meaningful for that. Command blocks essentially require coding to utilize. So command blocks let you do all sorts of things. So when you cross over a certain space, it automatically teleports you somewhere. It automatically gives you a certain item. Or even such things where the command blocks can take you to a certain website. The command blocks can be amazing. The command blocks can turn on text-to-speech for accessibility, or excuse me, speech-to-text and text-to-speech for accessibility. So yeah, lots of cool stuff in command blocks. They can't be used in the regular game, but they can be if you bring them out and you know how to code them. I want to leave space for questions and things. This is where I often put stuff. But there is, again, I will throw in that link, that bit.ly link to this, where all the resources I've shared are. Again, there'll be a new, oh, I forgot to put the slash in it again. There will be a new code.org world this year, as well as a new Hour of Code in the Minecraft world this year. Again, you can go and play past Hour of Code worlds, as well as this upcoming and current one. But I will share this at the end because it's meaningful to me in the work I've done with students with disabilities throughout my time, is that this is weird and complicated, and you might not be good at Minecraft, and you might not be skilled at Python coding, and that's all fine and dandy. Because you don't need to be good at any of that, because it's all built in, and the students can learn and discover and play with you. Part of that is about giving up that sort of sense of control and the understanding that you're not always going to be successful. You're not always going to get everything right. And that's sort of part of the nature of coding and debugging and everything too. You're not always going to win, but you can always be brave in every attempt, like the Special Olympics oath says. And I hope we had some fun fighting pig zombies and exploring all the various types of coding that can happen in Minecraft and all the different connections you can have to it. If you have any questions, I guess I'm here for 3 more minutes, and please ask and share in the chat. Yeah, that's the whole point. You will never be better than the students at Minecraft. I am pretty good, but in certain categories and spaces and places, they blow me away. Yeah, and I don't need to be as good as them. And in fact, when they are better than me and they show me up, I love it because it shows how much they have grown and surpassed what I was able to create for them, and that they have now become learning entities unto themselves. And that's awesome. All right. I mean, student join your Minecraft club is his first ever optional group activity at school. So rewarded. Yeah. To that point, the team from John Dewey High School that won our seniors competition last year, they're from Brooklyn. The juniors competition team that won was from the borough of Staten Island. The high school team was made up of students who, in many other places and spaces in the school, didn't really fit in and didn't really have a space to connect and communicate and feel comfortable and welcome. And yet in that space, they found purpose and belonging. And then now they're like superheroes in their school. So cool for them. Yeah. But I guess my time is about up. Thank you for joining me, and reach out to me with any questions. Again, there's my social media at Sean M. Arnold on most of the channels. And there you can go to braveintheattempts.com, which is where I have a whole bunch of resources and stuff that I share. And have a lovely weekend and rest of your CS NY adventure. Let's stop sharing this. And bye, everybody.